We just lost an actor who, for millions of us, was the future. As Captain Buck Rogers, Gil Gerard was the charismatic face of the 25th century. But the story of the man himself, his journey through our own time, was honestly way more complex than any sci-fi script could ever be.
So who was Gil Gerard, really, beyond the iconic role? His path to stardom was, well, it was anything but typical. He started out as an industrial chemist, then he was driving a cab in New York, chasing an acting dream, and eventually he was fighting some very public battles long after his spaceship was docked for good.
And to really get his impact, you just have to look at comments like this one. You got to remember, this was a time before streaming, before even VCRs were in every home. A show like Buck Rogers wasn't just something you watched. For a whole generation of kids, it was an absolute event.
All right, so let's start with the role that really defined him, Captain William Buck Rogers. He was our hero, a 20th century guy trying to figure out a future that was 500 years ahead of his own time. So what made this show such a hit? You have to understand the formula. This wasn't some dark, super serious sci-fi. No way. It was fun, it was slick, and it was so of its time. I mean, it fully leaned into that disco-era sex appeal. Gerard's Buck Rogers, he was way more Burt Reynolds than, some straight-laced, square-jawed space commander. But here's the crazy part. He almost didn't even take the role. Can you believe it? He actually turned it down not once, but twice. He was worried the character was just going to be too campy, too much of a cartoon. It was only after he finally sat down and read the script that he saw the real potential in this whole man-out-of-time idea. Okay, so that brings us to the man himself, because his journey to becoming Captain Buck Rogers was, well, it was a wild ride. He definitely did not set out to be a Hollywood star. I mean, just look at this timeline. The guy starts out with a promising career in chemistry. Next thing you know, he's driving a taxi in New York City just to pay the bills while he's studying drama. And then, this almost mythical thing happens. A passenger in his cab, intrigued that he was an aspiring actor, tells him to just show up on the set of the movie Love Story. He did, got hired as an extra, and boom, his whole life changed course. But then, after Buck Rogers was canceled in 1981, things got tough. Gerard started facing his biggest battles, and they were far, far away from any TV cameras. The stress from the show ending really took a heavy personal toll. And this slide just lays out that heartbreaking contrast perfectly, doesn't it? On screen, he's the confident, untouchable hero the whole world saw. But off-screen, he was a man struggling privately with the immense pressures of fame. He was always very frank about his battles with cocaine and alcohol. But after he got clean, a whole new challenge began with compulsive overeating. And that struggle got serious. At his heaviest, he was over 350 pounds. He even estimated that his food addiction cost him about $1 million in lost work. And, of course, it led to some really severe health problems, including a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. But here's where his story takes another turn. Instead of hiding it all, he did something incredibly brave, something most people in his position wouldn't do. He went public. He documented his entire recovery journey in a TV special, showing everyone his year-long progress after he underwent mini gastric bypass surgery. So you see, his comeback wasn't just about his career. It was deeply personal, and it was physical. And the surgery worked. I mean, it really worked. Within just 10 months, he lost an incredible 145 pounds. It truly gave him a new lease on life. So in the later decades of his life, Gil Gerard found a new kind of purpose. He really reconnected with the role that made him famous, and I think discovered just how much that character actually meant to people. He absolutely embraced the fan community, becoming a total fixture at sci-fi conventions. He also gave back through charity. He hosted shows, he kept acting, and get this, he even voiced the big bad villain Megatronus in the Transformers universe. How cool is that? He passed away at the age of 82. His wife announced that he had fought a rare and viciously aggressive form of cancer, leaving behind a career that spanned 5 decades and a legacy that is cherished by fans all over the world. In the end, Gil Gerard's story kind of leaves us with this question, right? It's a powerful reminder that behind those invincible heroes we all grew up with, there are real, complex, challenging, and ultimately very human lives being lived.